Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnerships with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber Internet Security Solutions and Voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson Attorneys at Law, utilizing 75 years of experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Decades in the planning, the Fullerton Pike project, opening an east-west corridor on the south side of Bloomington, is nearing the finish line.
We knew the significance of this, connecting this side of town to I-69.
One big component of the project, the Rockport Road and Fullerton Pike intersection, is scheduled to open by the end of the month. Almost a year after Indiana University canceled an exhibit by a Palestinian artist, it went on display at Michigan State. More than 40 IU students and faculty made the trip to East Lansing to show support for Samia Halaby.
I guess in some ways it is a political act that I want to demonstrate that, you were denied this by the IU administration.
And we visit the construction site of a passive house, an ultra-energy efficient home being built in Brown County. We'll have these stories, plus the latest news from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. With better east to west connectivity in Monroe County, access to I-69, and options to bypass traffic through the center of Bloomington are the goals for the Fullerton Pike project. Monroe County started the work in 2008. Our Benta Boutier has an update on the project's third phase.
Construction on the Fullerton Pike project is nearing completion. Bridge work on the project is ongoing, with deck pours scheduled in October. The project is meant to help with east-west connectivity in the county to I-69. Construction workers with Milestone Contractors use cranes and talk over radio to lower 90-ton concrete beams that will form the bridge across Clear Creek. When completed, the bridge will be the largest in Monroe County, 525 feet. It will connect onto I-69 next to the Monroe County Hospital. The bridge is a major part of the project's third phase, which involves 1.25 miles of road construction from Rockport Road to the roundabout on South Rogers Street. Ultimately, it will form a new connection to I-69 in the southwest part of the county. Brent Foster says the project is on schedule to be finished in July 2025. He says of all the projects the construction company oversees locally, this is the biggest.
We knew the significance of this, connecting this side of town to I-69, and we know what it means for the county to help alleviate a lot of the traffic congestion going west.
Matt Andrews saw the planned connection as a bonus when he and his business partner moved their gym location to the area several years ago.
The property was going to be accessible in more ways through the Fullerton Pike extension, and then also Gordon Pike roundabout at Rogers and Gordon Pike. That was going to be an asset, we felt like, for us.
He says in the last couple years, more students are coming in from Bloomington. Construction for previous stages of the project started in 2017 and went to 2020. Andrews says at one point, Rogers Street was closed, which limited access to his gym.
The only access to get to the gym was through Church Lane, and that was a little bit difficult for people to navigate, but it didn't take long for them to get that roundabout completed.
Work on the project's first and second phases included adding multi-use paths, increasing road capacity, and roundabouts. The project's third phase is about halfway done. Construction will pause in the winter and finish next spring and summer. These types of projects take years to plan and finance, according to Lisa Ridge. She points out areas on the west side of Bloomington and Monroe County with high congestion, along West 3rd Street and South Curry Pike. She hopes the Fullerton Pike development can help alleviate that.
It's kind of trying to help eliminate some of that traffic from going more north into that western connection that is really heavily congested.
Bloomington's congestion centers around its business hubs and state road corridors, according to Pat Martin of the Bloomington-Monroe County Metropolitan Planning Organization. He doesn't see these types of congestion changing anytime soon, but the Fullerton Pike project will help.
It's important for the south side of Bloomington, south side of Monroe County, in that, in parallel with Tap Road, the Tap Road corridor there, it provides what I would call parallel relief.
Tap Road, just north of Fullerton Pike on I-69, averages around 15,000 vehicles a day in some areas. Martin says the completed parts of the Fullerton Pike project average 6,000 to 9,000 vehicles a day. He doesn't see it increasing much past that for the fully completed project.
What drives the trips, if you will, the automobile trips or the passenger trips, are the residents and the density of those in that area. Given what's there now, like I said, I would expect somewhere around 6,000 to 9,000. It wouldn't be that much more than that at the current pace.
Andrews says between 500 to 800 people work out at Iron Pit daily, and he's looking forward to the project's completion.
There's more housing being developed down this way, and also just having that access point off the highway, off I-69, is definitely going to be helpful to us as far as people being able to get here quick.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Ben Taboutier.
The intersection of Rockport and Fullerton closed since July. It's expected to open later this month. With the general election less than 2 months away, polling places around the state are looking for workers. But what's it like to volunteer as a poll worker for an election in Indiana? Indiana Public Broadcasting's Lauren Chapman talks to one woman who has volunteered for the past 15 years.
Ellen Manilopoulos started volunteering as a poll worker after someone recruited her. She says she was nervous at first because there was so much she didn't know.
I didn't realize that the training covers everything and every contingency, and that when you run into a problem or a question, the inspector is there.
Manilopoulos says the last decade and a half has fortified her faith in the security of elections in every part of the process.
Nobody gets to make a decision on her own at any step in the process.
Almost 60% of Hoosier poll workers in 2022 were older than 60, according to the Federal Election Administration and Voting Survey. Manilopoulos says her experiences as a volunteer have been overwhelmingly positive.
It's really a lot of fun. You learn a lot. You're going to see your neighbors. I think it enhances the sense of community and, again, the sense of security in the process, faith in the process.
For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Lauren Chapman.
For Hoosiers interested in volunteering, go to indianavoters.com to check your voter registration and find details on working the polls. The deadline to register to vote is October 7th. Well, now for headlines from around the state. We're joined now by Clayton Baumgarth. Hi, Clayton.
Thanks, Joe. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Jennifer McCormick says Hoosiers have told her they're ready for the state to legalize adult cannabis use. McCormick unveiled a plan Thursday to gradually do so, starting with legalizing medical use.
We're going to learn from those states around us who have done it well and learn from those states around us who wish they could take some things back and have a redo.
The Tax Foundation estimates cannabis legalization could generate $172 million in revenue for the state. McCormick says that's not a lot compared to the state's overall budget, but she says it can make a difference in targeted ways, particularly at the local level. She says that no set timeline for how the state would move from legal medical use to legal recreational use.
It is really dependent upon how this rolls out and what successes we see and what barriers we come across, because we know there will be both.
While lawmakers in both parties have authored cannabis legalization bills in recent years, Republican legislative leaders remain staunchly opposed. An Indianapolis jury found Indiana University guilty of discrimination in a sexual misconduct investigation. Former student Alec Ernie was accused of sexual assault in 2020. While the university cleared him of drugging allegations and the Bloomington Police Department declined to press charges, IU suspended him for 3 semesters. His attorney argued that IU denied Ernie due process required under Title IX protections. Ernie was awarded $136,000. Indiana University researchers will lead a 5-year, $7.5 million study funded by the Department of Defense on AI-generated misinformation and radicalizing messages. The study seeks to explain the science of resonance. Resonance is the way people's opinions are influenced by content they agree with or relate to personally.
Most of us are quite worried about AI's potential, and what we expect to find is like how dangerous AI can be.
Experts are worried about how AI will be able to radicalize people. He says that research from the project could help the government counter misinformation campaigns and radicalization. Indiana University has its highest enrollment of undergraduate students into the School of Nursing this year. There are nearly 450 students this year as the state deals with a shortage of nurses. The Indiana Hospital Association estimates the state must graduate 1,300 nurses every year until 2030 to meet Indiana's medical needs. A new law was passed this legislative year that removes some of the barriers for entry the nurses face. A county judge rejected an effort by abortion care providers to expand the health exception in Indiana's near-total abortion ban. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Brandon Smith reports on the latest development in the ongoing legal battles around the controversial law.
The Indiana Supreme Court ruled last year that the state constitution guarantees the right to abortion only if a pregnant person's life or serious health is at risk. That is one of the few exceptions to Indiana's abortion ban, but some of the state's abortion care providers argued in court that exception in the law is vague and too narrow. But Judge Kelsey Hanlon disagrees. She says the providers couldn't come up with any examples of medical conditions that would cause serious health risks but aren't allowed under the law. Hanlon also rejected the arguments that emotional or mental health conditions should be allowed under the law, saying there is no evidence that abortion is necessary to treat such conditions. And Hanlon says that while some doctors can't be certain what qualifies under the ban's health exception, the law is not too vague. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Brandon Smith at the State House.
The Indiana Supreme Court set an execution date of December 18th for Joseph Corcoran. Corcoran was convicted by an Allen Superior Court jury in 1999 of the murders of his brother, his sister's fiancé, and 2 of their friends. He's been on Indiana's death row ever since. But in June, Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita asked the state to set an execution date for the now 49-year-old man. State and federal public defenders say Corcoran continues to suffer from paranoid schizophrenia. There will be a skywalk connecting a new building and the convention center when the $52 million expansion project is completed. Despite objections from 2 members of the City Council, Capital Improvement Board President John Weikart says the skywalk is necessary for the 2 buildings to be seen as one. And he says it's a pedestrian safety issue, especially with 500 people trying to cross the street at once.
Here's the bottom line. The convention center expansion design will have a skywalk. That is how we achieve the expansion of a 40,000 square foot space to a 100,000 square foot space.
Board members are also still evaluating the 3 hotel developer proposals presented last week. A real estate and hotel market analysis is due at the end of the month. For 2 years now, an Equity Alliance has said the state should do more to place electric vehicle charging stations in Black communities. Now, the Alliance has chosen its own preferred locations for the federally funded chargers in what it calls a Green Book. It is a nod to the segregation-era guidebook that listed safe places to stop for Black travelers.
We want us to be able to drive through the state and charge in places that are safe and friendly to us and our families.
The Green Book lists 38 locations in underserved communities that could host EV chargers that qualify for federal grants through the Biden administration. While the state's picks so far are primarily at gas stations right off the highway, the Alliance's choices are mostly churches less than 5 miles away. And Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist Carl Bernstein will be Indiana University's Poynter Chair for the 2024-25 school year. Bernstein, best known for his work covering the Watergate scandal, will have 4 visits to IU Bloomington. The first event will be a panel discussion at the media school called Journalism in a Polarized Election Landscape on October 8th in President's Hall. And Joe Bernstein will return in November for a discussion about the upcoming election and its implications for journalists.
Election only a couple months away.
That's right.
Thanks, Clayton. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. IU students and faculty visited Michigan State last weekend to view an exhibit by a Palestinian artist that was originally planned for Bloomington. And we take a look at the construction of a passive house, ultra-energy efficient homes that are becoming popular. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
This is a matter of life and death.
Oh, good. Tell us everything.
Something's not right.
Could be worse.
These 2 crimes are connected.
That's changed everything.
Wrapped your eyes in murder again.
Needle in a haystack, right? I trust my instincts.
I should leave this alone.
But you won't.
No world is truly unchanging.
This is nature at its absolute finest.
Our daughter, she's gone missing. I should leave this alone.
But you won't.
He's doing things no one had ever done before, and that is astounding.
It's absolutely mind-boggling.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Michigan State University is hosting the first American retrospective of Palestinian artist Samia Halaby, a distinction that would have belonged to Indiana University had it not canceled the exhibit last winter. Ethan Sandwise joined IU students on a trip to East Lansing for Halaby's show, Eyewitness.
45 IU students huddled outside the Indiana Memorial Union at 7 on a Saturday morning to make the 9-hour round trip to Michigan. MSU's Broad Museum of Art is hosting Halaby's first American retrospective. Her work is also displayed at the Guggenheim, the Art Institute of Chicago, and the Detroit Institute of Art.
I think it's very important that it's here because it was at MSU that she really dug into this journey to become an abstract painter.
But this show is supposed to be the second. Halaby's work would have originally been shown this spring at IU's Eskenazi Museum. That school has as good a claim to the artist as Michigan State. Halaby received her MFA at IU and taught painting there.
Samia Halaby is one of the most famous Palestinian artists of the 20th century. To have her here at Indiana University campus was an amazing opportunity for me just as a scholar of Palestinian culture.
But the university canceled the show without public announcement in December over unspecified security risks, inflaming campus as well as the art world.
Shame on Wigton! Shame on Wigton!
The cancellation was one of several events that led to major protests against the administration at IU.
Serendipitously, both Professor McDonald and I were on Dunn Meadow during the protests in April, and we started talking to one another, and I said, I'm really thinking of taking a group of students up to see the Samia Halaby exhibit this fall because they weren't able to see it at IU.
Lichtenstein is teaching a class on curating exhibits. McDonald's students are learning about protest art and music. So the show is directly applicable. But Lichtenstein says if IU hadn't canceled Halaby's exhibit, she probably would have flown under his radar.
I guess in some ways it is a political act, and I want to demonstrate that, you were denied this by the IU administration at IU, so we're going to make sure you have the opportunity here at MSU, which for whatever reasons had the courage to go ahead with the exhibit.
IU is still paying for the trip, though, which Lichtenstein says costs around $8,000. MSU's Winter worked closely with Halaby for 2 years, and she kept in close touch with her counterparts at the Eskenazi Museum. Stephen Bridges, the director of the Broad Museum, wouldn't comment directly on the cancellation at IU, but said he worked closely with MSU so the exhibit could proceed safely.
The museum is also very committed to
being an open forum for expression and really for civil dialogue, for the expression of different ideas, the exchange of ideas in a respectful and, again, a civil atmosphere.
Halaby is an abstract painter. Some of her work has titles such as Occupy Jerusalem, but you couldn't tell it's political just by looking at it. Other pieces with titles like Toronto Aquarium and Morning in Your Heart don't drop any political clues whatsoever. Her art suggests movement, light, and nature in ways that Winter describes as rational and methodic.
I think of the show as a choose your own adventure, and there's a lot of different layers to her work and to the ways that you can engage with the work.
Students on the trip say that's not what they expected.
It was kind of shocking to find out that it was just like an art exhibit. Like, it was, obviously there were political meanings that you could glean from it, but nothing that really called for a cancellation.
It made me frustrated that like none of her art, besides like maybe one piece, really had any type of like political charge to it. It was kind of just simple art.
While IU students don't have the opportunity to see her art in Bloomington, other faculty have followed Lichtenstein and McDonald by announcing trips to MSU.
Indiana University had just an equal claim, and we could have celebrated the achievements of an incredible alumnus and former faculty member. But we missed it. It was a missed opportunity. But good news is, at least the students on this bus got a chance to see it.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Ethan Sandweiss.
The Halaby exhibit is on display at the Broad Art Museum in East Lansing, Michigan through December 15th. Passive homes are ultra energy efficient homes. They use less energy to maintain indoor temperatures. One local resident is starting to embrace this new model. Isabella Vesperini has this report.
While building a passive home can be 3 to 5% more expensive, Indiana resident Wally Bruner has managed to start building one for much cheaper. As the general contractor for the project, Bruner is building his own passive home with a budget of $500,000. The average cost per square foot of home in the country is approximately $233. But Bruner found a way to make the home in Yellowwood Forest, about 15 minutes from Bloomington, cheaper.
I'm actually doing some of the high-performance detailing work. We're actually looking at coming in at about $170 to $175 a square foot, which is really almost unheard of when you look at building a home of this type.
Bruner has positioned the home so it faces south. The light from the sun will warm the house in the winter, another passive home element. He will install a 5,500-gallon cistern that will be his primary source of water, and will store rainwater in the cistern to use. He and his wife are also planning to grow their own vegetables and build a 6-kilowatt solar farm.
It's going to be about 20 to 25 panels, and then that's going to be connected to our house with a battery backup system. So if we are to lose power, our system will be able to auto shut off to the grid, and then we'll be able to run off a battery and solar on our own.
Bruner was first inspired to build a passive house of his own 8 years ago when he learned about earthships. Earthships are a type of passive home built with natural and recycled materials and are designed to produce water, food, and electricity on the property. But it was the pandemic that really made Bruner's plans to build a passive home a reality.
When we saw how everything was shut down in COVID and how fragile all of our systems are, we said, you know, we want to be more self-reliant. We want to have greater independence.
Bruner hopes to finish construction by next March. After that, he's planning to build an environmental resilience training center on the property. He wants to host workshops to teach people how to use local resources and become more connected with the environment.
We can gather and talk about what are effective strategies, techniques, and methods for us to live on this planet differently. And what we mean by different is to live in a more self-reliant, more self-sustainable, and really more of a conscious way of living.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Isabella Vesperini.
Passive homes come with many other benefits. They have thicker insulation, airtight windows, and moisture control. And the Indiana football team hits the road for the first time this season Saturday when the Hoosiers play at UCLA. It's the conference opener for both schools and UCLA's first game ever as a member of the Big Ten. And it'll be Indiana's first trip to Pasadena since the 1968 Rose Bowl game against USC.
For me and the team, it's more of a business trip. whether we're playing in the Rose Bowl or in a parking lot. It's all the same.
The Hoosiers are coming off their most explosive offensive game in history last weekend when they scored a record 77 points against Western Illinois. UCLA, which joined the Big Ten after nearly a century in what would become the Pac-12, is 1-0 after beating Hawaii in its opener last week. Saturday's game kicks off at 7:30 p.m. on NBC and Peacock. Well, that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnerships with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber Internet Security Solutions and Voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson Attorneys at Law, utilizing 75 years of experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.